10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. We have ignition.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program RP-0. We are joining our Mars crew here on the surface of Mars, where they've just completed their first night getting rested up and getting reacclimated to gravity. And well, now there's work to be done. The first thing is that we have to go fix up the laboratory module, which is just a few kilometers this way over on its side. We're going to have to use our super trusty jack stands, antennas, jack stands, to get this thing right side up and get it back on its wheels so that we can go reattach it to the base. Yes. But unfortunately, it does not really want to cooperate, and jack stands are slippery, so it's just going to keep sliding down this hill while we keep trying to prop it up. So it's basically just going to be this long cycle of grabbing an antenna, moving it down lower, popping it open, and grabbing the first antenna and moving it again until, boom, we get this thing upright and we have a Kerbal trapped underneath it. Yevgenia will crawl her way free and then hop onto the ladder. Since this thing contains no life support of its own, she really just kind of has to hang on to the side here while we swing it around and get it in a staging position where we can try to go ahead and go for docking. Now, this does mean that we will have to retract the landing legs, and that will mean that the base will slide downhill. And our first rather brutish attempt does not go well. Our second attempt, however, goes swimmingly, and the lab module is now docked and can be pressurized, and we can start moving our crew inside to start the research of all the lovely scientific data that they have gathered so far. So things that have already been run in a lab or that won't get us much net, we will leave aside for now, but we'll give them a full complement of 500 datas to work with. We'll realize that any engineer who hasn't gone to Mars and come back already cannot repair wheels. We'll also realize that this thing is very slowly sliding downhill, which is going to make things difficult. But our engineer has a lot more work to do in that we have a couple more biomes that we're going to try to hit since we're relatively close. We'll push this crate free before putting it on our back and find that our rover has inverted itself, I guess. Quick attempts to nudge it over are fruitless, so we'll just use our jack stand and put it back on its wheels before busting out our Mech Jeb automated rover guidance and setting ourselves a waypoint. Now, this rover for 4 crew has a range of about 2 days drive time. So with a single crew, you can do the math. We've got a pretty broad range of where we can drive this thing to, although I don't expect our Kerbal will be very happy being stuck in this EVA suit for multiple hours, but we'll start the drive anyway. Don't worry, this is not going to be entirely a road trip episode. Lots of creative editing. We'll try to set our waypoint because I don't think we can go straight up that hill, so we're going to have to try to navigate around it before crossing some great plains. Now, there was a big accident. We hit a pothole, and our crate bottomed out and exploded, destroying all of its contents. So I think that we're going to have to report back to base because there's no point in going to these biomes if we can't gather science from them. And that was literally all of our scientific equipment. We have spares back at the base. And I guess we're just going to need a better way to transport them. Preferably something with a longer and wider wheelbase. So we're going to roll this thing back in as we just kind of enjoy the sunny Martian morning and get this rover ready for a small retrofit while our base continues to slide down a hill. We'll grab all of our spare equipment here and load it up on the back of this thing. We're going to grab a few extra bits of equipment, including this heavy mounting block, which kind of gets in the way of some stuff, this core, and instead of just carrying things in the crate itself. We're going to mount them externally in a place where hopefully they won't run into things and, you know, smash and be destroyed. Now, unfortunately, this design not going to work. That big weight that we're using, yeah, that it gets in the ways of the wheels and prevents the wheels from actually being able to roll. So we're going to detach that, and oh boy, some brakes are locked, some brakes are not locked. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to try to rebuild out a different front end. It's going to take me a little while to arrive at this conclusion, but yeah, something like this, where it's roughly straight, and then we just reposition the wheels towards the front. That gives us a wider, longer wheelbase, and then putting the weight right in the middle, which is where you want it. If you want a stable vehicle, you want all of your weight to be in between your wheelbase, which is exactly where this is. Now, it is a pretty heavy-ass rover now, because that block weighs a significant amount. But that should help us keep traction. It should help us keep from like flying over hills that could cause excess damage and lots of other bad things. And we're just going to proof it by trying to drive up this ridiculous hill over here, thanks to these nice waypoints, stopping every now and again to take a quick save. But generally, this thing is just pinned to the track. It's very stable, kind of hard to roll, doesn't leap off of hills, and will maintain 15 meters per second without too much issue in flat open terrain. Going up hills, however, I do kind of wish I had placed the weight block a little further back, but it's almost dead center. But, you know, it's all-wheel drive, it's electric, it's got an RTG. You know, it's not going to do too badly. And we got gobs of battery storage on board, as well as that RTG to replenish things when it gets, you know, sticky out. So many apologies for all the mess of sped up footage, but there's really there's a whole lot of dead time when you're just kind of waiting for a rover to get somewhere. And yeah, I guess we figured out our maximum climbable grade is a little less than 20 degrees. So we're going to have to zigzag up some of these bigger hills. And yeah, our speed gets all the way down to about 2 or 3 meters per second in some cases, which is, you know, made for some pretty slow going. This was pretty much the entirety of our road trip stream, which, you know, I had fun. It's just, it doesn't make very good, you know, recap footage because, well, you know, this is it. You're looking at it. There's only so much talking I can do about how we rebuilt this rover, and I don't know how crappy the terrain is and how slow we got. But upon further examination of the hill we are heading straight into, we realized that's not going to work. We're going to go up this side over here because it kind of mitigates the incline that we're going to have to face off against. Whereas, like I said before, the maximum incline we can climb in this thing is about 20 degrees. Maybe a little less, because here we are at like 15 or 16 and slowing all the way down to 0.2 meters per second as we really struggle to make that waypoint. So there was a lot of zigzagging. So I did take manual control for a lot of these things. Just trying to make sure that, I don't know, our cart didn't tip, we didn't flip over, things didn't go horrendously bad. But we have pretty much proofed out that this thing will work. It does drive, it is stable, we can stop and quick save, we haven't popped a tire or killed anyone yet. Now it's just a matter of getting it on site to where we want to collect some science. And here we are. After this next big hill, we will have crested the valley and made it to the top of the plains. It's just one hard last push that happens mostly between 1 and 2 meters per second. But there it is, the top of the hill. And so we will set our waypoint and drive for many, many days until we find ourselves in the Mars North Ice Cap biome, which is oddly not anywhere near Mars's North Ice Cap. But, you know, I will very willing to take advantage of these tiny little exploits. Getting out of the seat somehow teleports you to the top of the magnetometer, and we will collect all of our data from our science experiments, clearing them out effectively before returning to our rover seat to drive to our next biome, Mars Valles Marineris, where we will collect another large batch of scientific data, including a surface report and a crew report, which we will be storing in one of these little side container or side avionics cores. Yeah, that's what they're called. We'll just download it into our computer. It is the 2000s after all. Take another skydive from the top of the magnetometer before bouncing off to collect our last little bits of science and then plotting a course for home. We've been out on the road for basically a day and a half now, and it's time to, well, get back and do some other things. So I'll get this data back to the lab for processing. So after lots of long, hard driving, we do end up making it back to the project M97 surface station and making a nice, smooth approach with our super awesome all-terrain Martian rover as we come screaming down the hill. Lord knows how far that thing has slid down and away from us. Maybe it's going to find a happy place to just, stop and hang out and be, in the same spot the next time we come back to it. Wouldn't that be nice? Anyway, we're going to get this data into the lab and start processing it. Sorry for the short episode, everyone, but that's going to do it for this one, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really do appreciate it, and I will see all of you in the next one. So until then, see you later.